So roll, roll down, rubber, roll train. Little Laura before dead Jesse James. Heart full of love, but I'm only here to kill her. Fear that the devil may have spoke too soon. He ran through the room with a bottle of you. Fell down in a chair, swear I heard him sing. And he sang, love is only a heartbeat away. Best save for the darkest of your days. And he sang, love is only a heartbeat away. Best save for the darkest of your days. So I raise my glass to the Holy Ghost, Father and Son that you love the most. And Peter, won't you please forgive her? Turn yourself and no blind eye. Damn, heaven knows we tried. No, guess never heard ma sing. And she sang, love is only a heartbeat away. Best save for the darkest of your days. She sang, love is only a heartbeat away. Best save for the darkest of your days. To feel so down. And I know I wasn't around half as much as I could have. Remember me for mistakes I made. I always did leave when I should have stayed. No, my sins taught me how to sing. Then I sang, love is only a heartbeat away. Best save for the darkest of your days. Stop the clocks, it's amazing. You should see the way the light dances up your hair. A million colors of hazel, golden and red. Saturday morning is fading. The sun's reflected by the coffee in your hand. My eyes are caught in your gaze all over again. We were love drunk, waiting on a miracle.
Oh my God,
trying to find
oh, sorry. I didn't want to fall.
like the world had disappeared. Oh, I won't be silent and I won't let go. I will hold on tighter till the afterglow. And we'll burn so bright till the darkness softly clears. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. The weather outside's changing. The leaves are buried under 6 inches of white. The radio is playing iron and wine.
What time did you go then?
My taxi didn't turn up, babe.
Where we're losing track of time. I'm holding nothing against it, except you and I.
Love is a temporary madness. It erupts like volcanoes and then subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work out whether your root was so entwined together that it's inconceivable that you should ever part, because this is what love is. Those that truly love have roots that grow towards each other underground, and when all the pretty blossoms have fallen from their branches, they find that they are one tree and not two. Love you guys.
I am required to ask, if any person present knows of any lawful impediments to this marriage, they should declare it.
Radio is playing iron and wine. This is a new dimension.
your declarations to each other in the presence of your family and friends. You have symbolised your marriage by the joining of hands and the giving and receiving of blessings. It is now my very great pleasure to announce that you are now husband and wife. Many congratulations.
Oh, I will hold on to the afterglow. I've waited and given the chance again. I do it all the same, but either way, I'm always outplayed upon your down days. I left in the right way to start again. Now watch me rise up and leave all the ashes you made out of me. When you said that we were wrong, life goes on, just look at how long I've agreed. Now watch me rise up and leave all the ashes you made out of me. When you said that we were wrong, life goes on, just look at how long I've agreed.
What is love? Love for me is very simple. It's when you care more for somebody else or other people than you do for yourself. Okay? It's when you actually think about their needs before yours. So Stevie actually, she sold this idea of me doing a speech by saying to me, Dad, you know, you've got to do a talk and everything, okay? And you're definitely in my top 10 of all-time favourite people. Well, basically, top 10. Top 10, that's great. I mean, that's high praise. When you think about it, though, and I was thinking, when she said it to me, I was thinking, top 10, top 10. And then I started to think about some of the family that I've met, some of the friends that I've met and that I know. And when I started to think about those people, I mean, Lucy, I thought to myself, I actually feel honoured to be in your top 10, Stevie, because of all the amazing family and friends that you have that are gathered here today. So thank you for, I know it's tradition, but thanks for asking me anyway. But the one thing about Stevie, and I'm going to sort of develop this, is you don't mess with Stevie. You don't mess with Stevie. This is a woman you do not mess with. Sam knows that, okay? But anybody who's not me, you don't mess with Stevie. I'll give you a little illustration of this. When she was at school, I remember her coming, she'd finished school and she came back and I met her. She was telling me about the fact that the local vicar had been into her class. Do you remember this? Yeah. The local vicar had been into her class and was chatting. And Stevie challenged the local vicar, okay, over the difference between what he was talking about, the difference between belief and fact. And she was basically saying, mate, what you're talking about, okay, is belief. It ain't fact, it's belief. She was 9 years old. And the first time Sam came to my house, where is it, Sam? I forgot that, you know, just in case you're a bit bored later, I've bought you a board game. So Sam, see, for those of you who don't know, I love board games. I play modern board games all the time, okay? And of course, Sam turns up at my house, and the first thing I try and do is to sort of like build some bonding with him with something he absolutely hates, can't abide it. So I'm trying to bond with him over that.
That's because you spelled bored wrong.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard that joke before. Never heard that one. But the final little bits here is just there's some photographs over there, and there are people who can't make it today. Partly, we've got the awful situation with COVID, and there are people who can't come here today, and I know that their love is coming into this room with all of us to share with Stevie and with Sam. And there are some people who can't be here. I know my mum would have loved this man because he loves me as my daughter, and she would have absolutely loved you. And her love is in this room right now for you too. And so you're just beautiful. You're both beautiful.
I first met Stevie, I think, when she was 2. The cutest toddler you could ever meet. Huge gap-toothed grin, big head of curly hair, obsessed with watching rubbish on the television, constantly babbling absolute nonsense. She hasn't really changed at all. But she was the kindest, and she remains the kindest, most generous and happiest child. And she was a joy to be around as a kid. She was the cutest toddler you could ever wish to see. She really, really was. Stevie's got very consistent personal qualities that she's had since she was 2. As you know, we only found out, how old was she when you found out she was deaf? We found out she was deaf when we were 5. A bit remiss of us to wait so long, but that's never held Stevie back. She's loyal and caring. She lives for other people, but she's got a strong sense of who she is. She's an instinctive person. She's the busiest person I've ever seen. On the family WhatsApp, 1 minute she's in Yorkshire, the next minute she's in Wales. And I haven't got off my couch. I don't know what I've done to deserve Stevie or Billy or Debbie in my life, but I'm a lucky man. Sam, when I met Sam, I thought he was great. I could catch ciggies off him. And he made me laugh. I take to people without thinking about it too much, and usually I'm right. Sam is honest and funny. He loves the Beatles, so he must have a good soul. We all think the world of Sam in our family, and we welcome him with open arms. Stevie and Sam are made for each other and will have a happy and fulfilled life together. They're a great couple and will be the best of parents. Their lucky baby, as Dave said, will want for nothing and will have a life filled with love, laughter and music. And of course, Dave and I will always be there for you, Steve and Sam, because that comes as part of the deal. So, if you could all raise your glasses with Dave and I, as we congratulate Sam and Steve on their marriage and wish them every success for the future. Steve and Sam. Thank you.
I think we're okay. So, 8 years ago, if you'd have told me that I'd be stood here today, married to a deaf vegetarian from Derby, I'd have laughed you out the pub. But here I stand today, the happiest I've ever been. The story of how Steve and I met depends on who you talk to. If you ask Lucy, she's parlayed it up into a story of a desperate tram passenger, a rain-drenched damsel late for work with a broken high heel and a soggy laptop bag. In reality, we were the only 2 people that turned up to someone's leaving do. For a fella called Chris. He was eventually taken away by his wife, leaving me with this lovely, funny and charming lady with a smile that I very quickly became addicted to. One date led to another, and here we are today, husband and wife, a house, a dog, and a baby. And I could not be happier. It's everything I've ever wanted. However, all the loveliness comes at a cost. The snoring. Particularly difficult this week, because I'm not allowed in the spare room, 2 dresses in there. the litter left round the house, constantly losing her hearing aids, the amount of laundry she creates, the Hoover cord left sprawled across the floor for me to trip over and break my neck. And as you can imagine at the moment, I'm not getting a lot of room in bed. But it's a small price to pay for a life built on love, friendship, support and fun. Look, I'm not a poet, so let me refer to the king, Elvis Presley, for a quote. When you smile, the world is brighter. You touch my hand and I'm a king. Your kiss to me is worth a fortune. Your love for me is everything. Ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Ray. Now everybody, how beautiful do Stevie's bridesmaids and maid of honour look today? I think without you six, I would have driven Stevie completely mad. Special mention, of course, to Lucy, who began life as Stevie's mate, and now I can't imagine life without her. I've lost my place. I know your help to Steve was even more important when she was poorly, and just invaluable to us. You're an inspiration to us both every day, and you're absolutely smashing it with Millie, and you're fantastic, so we love you.
I'm going to start somewhere I didn't think I was going to start. I want to add to one of John's points from earlier about you don't mess with Stevie. One of the first things I remember, or certainly one of the most memorable things I've got about Stevie, is when we went to Centre Parks a few years ago, and we were doing some quad biking. And we told the instructor ahead of time that when you're talking in a loud environment, you have to look at Stevie, because she can lip read. Someone didn't tell the second instructor that. So part one, guy explains most of what we need to know, he goes away. Part two, the second person comes along, starts talking, looking over here, whatever. And Stevie didn't, no context, no explanation, nothing. Just went, "Oi, look at me." Now, so over the last few months leading up to this, I've been thinking about this wedding a lot. And I kind of thought, like, in a year when Leicester City finally win the FA Cup, what would the odds have been on that only being the second biggest day of Sam's year? But the stag do was great, so fair enough. Now, I should probably talk a bit about the Sam that I know, which unfortunately is the same Sam as you lot all know, so we've all suffered. So me and Sam first met one Thursday in mid-1993. I was dazed, a bit shaky, close to pooing myself.
Same as today?
Most days since with you have been the same way, yeah. But growing up, it surprised a lot of people that we didn't really get on a lot. We argued a lot, sort of fought like cat and dog a lot of the time. There are only really two occasions where we did sort of consistently get on and be on the same side. One was always Christmas morning, the years it took Mum to put makeup on before we could go downstairs and see if Santa had been. That was when we were on the same side. The other was at specifically Market Harbour swimming pool. Now, for those of you, most of you haven't been there, Market Harbour swimming pool, the changing area is in two sections, right? Part of it is like cubicles for individual people to get, to get changed and that kind of privacy. And then part of it is a communal bit for parents to take their kids. Now, the communal bit's wall doesn't reach the ceiling. There's a big old gap at the top. So me and Sam would play what we used to call trunk roulette, which was get your trunks down, normally Sam first, trunks down onto your foot, fling it over the wall, and see which cubicle you make it land in. Our poor, long-suffering dad going around, you just sort of hear, "Yes, they are my children's trunks. I can only apologise, thank you." He'd come in, red-faced, spitting, swearing, come around the corner just in time to see me fling mine over the wall as well. There's a dynamic that could have gone on indefinitely. If I'm completely honest, it's really, though, the bad times that have brought us together, like, as brothers and as best friends. Every big decision, every crisis, every problem I've ever had, he's the first person that I turn to, every single time. And I think it's probably been similar for you, right? Until Stevie came along. Now, this is why I'm so happy today, is that no matter what you're going through, and no matter what you call me with, I know that you're not going through that alone anymore. I know that I'm the second person to hear that, and by the time you come to me, Stevie will make sure that you're all right. And that's why, Stevie, this stuff means so much to me, and why today's so special, because I know that my brother's being looked after, and that's the most important thing as far as I'm concerned.
Now watch me rise up and leave all the ashes you made out of me. When you said that we were wrong, life goes on, just look at all the I've agreed. Now watch me rise up and leave all the ashes you made out of me. When you said that we were wrong, life goes on, you blew me away.
It's a lovely day, rain clears from my feet again. The panic stations clear out from the streets today. It's a lovely day, now call your friends, your family. Somebody loves you, and that's all I'll say. Somebody loves you, that's all I'll say. Somebody loves you, and that's all I'll say. Somebody loves you, that's all I say. Somebody loves you, and that's all I say. I never found the time to tell you goodbye. Love you more than life yourself, that's alright. 'Cause I get wiser all the time, and you never overestimate your problems. Grab them by the horns, I know you'll solve them. Someone loves you, and that someone is me. It's a lovely day and I sure as hell don't feel that way. That everybody wants to feel, but that's okay. And that's a symphony of revelry running true. Coming clean, somebody loves me, and that's all